Did Donald Trump just give Wall Street a license to raid your retirement account in the name of democratization?
President Trump expected to sign an executive order today to allow private assets and crypto assets into 401ks.
That's right. Last week, Trump signed a new executive order that lets private equity, the same industry that's bankrupted hundreds of businesses and decimated many communities, tap directly into your 401k. I'm going to break down exactly how this works, why it's happening right now, and what you can do about it to keep your 401k from becoming Wall Street's next bailout fund. First, here's what private equity is. Giant investment firms that pool money from pensions, endowments, and other big institutions to buy companies, typically using a lot of borrowed money. But here's the problem. With interest rates going up, those mountains of debt are now becoming toxic. Private equity is now sitting on trillions of dollars of adjustable rate loans, and bankruptcy rates for their portfolio companies hit all-time highs in 2024. These trends have even alarmed traditional private equity investors like Yale and Harvard to the point that they have now made the decision to divest from private equity, and not only that, they're willing to sell at a discount. So if you go online right now, you'll hear a lot of people talking about a private equity bubble, and the message is usually somewhere between fear-mongering and the truth. So let me just give you the facts. According to Bain & Company, private equity is stuck with a record $3.6 trillion in unsold companies they're supposed to unload within the next 5 to 10 years. But at the same time, they're also sitting on about $1.2 trillion in dry powder. This is cash they've promised to invest whether the deal makes sense or not. So they got mountains of companies that they need to sell and mountains of cash to buy them, but yet the market is frozen. Nobody's buying, nobody's selling. Very weird. Now take a listen to why.
So we know that there's enough dry powder out there. So dry powder is money that these private equity firms have already agreed to deploy. They are contractually obligated to go and spend this money and buy businesses. But it's aging, which means they're not finding the opportunities they want in the market. Okay? But on the flip side, we have more than enough companies for all of that dry powder. So if the buyers and sellers are there, but they can't make deals, the necessary conclusion there is a valuation distortion.
A valuation distortion. That is what we normal people would call a bubble. And this is where you come in. As Harvard and Yale's private equity holdings go on sale, buyers can use this technique for 1,000% windfalls. It makes your brain melt. 1,000% returns, guys. Does that not set off any alarm bells for you? Like if there was an investment where you can make 1,000% returns, you think Wall Street would let you have it? I was born at night, but not last night. Now let's take a listen to what could happen if you invest in these funds with brain-melting returns.
If you invested, James, at $1 and then you're ready to get your money out and it's now worth 10, the private equity firm will return your $10 to you, but they're going to take a $2 fee because, hey, I grew your money from $1 to $10, so I'm going to take my fee, which is called carry. Okay, and carry is typically about 20% of all earnings over a hurdle rate, which is typically 8%. So any return in excess of 8%, the private equity fund gets to keep 20% of that. Okay, so in this evergreen fund, you get paid out on this inflated NAV, this mark to model. Okay, and you, James, have got your money. You've walked away with your $8, and I've gotten mine too. And I've been able to market to new investors to say, look at these great returns. But we actually haven't sold anything. You got your money based on a valuation, and that new money comes in based on that valuation. So a new investor is going to put in $10, and that's largely the money that's going out to new investors. And the private equity fund is taking a commission on unrealized gain. So what happens if these assets are overvalued and they tank? Well, the person who's just put their money in is going to lose everything. The person who's already gotten their money out is gone, goodbye. And the private equity fund, who is facilitating all of this, has already been paid on unrealized gains. So they've made a profit while their investors are losing.
Well, that sounds an awful lot like a triangle-shaped business model, or as some would call it, a Ponzi scheme. And now thanks to Trump's new executive order, your 401k could be used as exit liquidity for Wall Street, cashing them out of all these failed companies they've gutted. That's right, the same people who wrecked Toys R Us, Payless Shoes, and hundreds of nursing homes are now getting a pipeline straight into your retirement account. And another thing to remember too is that private equity funds have astronomical fees, usually 2% on the total invested plus 20% of the gains. Your 401k manager doesn't normally make that kind of money, but now they have an incentive to push these products on you. Look, I'm not giving financial advice here, but if I had a 401k, I would call up my manager right now and tell them, I want no part of this scheme, because this is not diversification or democratization. It is straight up a bailout disguised as a retirement plan. And trust me, you do not want to be the one holding the bag when that bubble pops. But once again, that's just me, not financial advice. My name is James Lee. This is the 5149 Show. I think everybody needs to be very, very careful about this and not get sucked into these sales pitches that are certainly coming your way. Let me know what your thoughts are. And if you want to support my work, please take a second to like this video, share it, and subscribe. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next one.
In life, you have to have a dream. And one of the dreams is our desire and the market's need to have more access at retail to alternative asset products. If there's a change in that area, that becomes a huge opportunity for the firm. There's a ability for something to get changed that could be really, really impactful.